समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
Late Tuesday night, the government surprised us by releasing its citations and the full list of Gallantry Award winners in Op Sindoor. The important thing to remember is that citations were only released for Vir Chakra winners. 15 Vir Chakras were awarded. 15 citations have been put out. 15 as in 9 for the Air Force. They have the lion's share because they were also the sword arm or the tip of the spear, as they like to call them, of Indian military power in this case. So just like all 4 of the army Veer Chakras are on the line of control, the 2 Veer Chakras for the BSF, unfortunately posthumous, are also on the Jammu and Kashmir border with Pakistan. In their case, because it's the Jammu sector, that is along international border, what we call as international border, and Pakistanis, for their own reasons, call it the working boundary. So that is where the 6 Veer Chakras have been given. Second, Sena medals. Sena medal gallantry. Sena medals can be given for service also, but Sena medal gallantry. Sena medal gallantry 58, Vayu Sena medal for gallantry 26, Nau Sena medal for gallantry 6. It would have really helped if we had the citations available for these, but right now we don't. Maybe in the course of time, when they are released, we will know. But I have the gazette notifications of the government. That's a printout of the gazette notification. All the names are there, but citations as yet are not there. Because if we had got those citations, I would have been able to make an even more expansive and extensive picture of the fighting as it unfolded. But the citations that we have also help us get a better idea than what we have so far. Any information helps us get more clarity or to take out more clutter. Now, Sena Medal Gallantry 58, I said, Vayu Sena Medal Gallantry 26, Now Sena Medal Gallantry 5, then mention in dispatches. Mention in dispatches, a staggering 290, of which the Indian Air Force has the lion's share, right? Sena Medal, Vayu Sena Medal, the Army has more than Air Force, but mentioned in dispatches, Indian Air Force has 167, the Army has 115, the Navy has 5, and Border Roads Organization has 3. Now, if we make a close study of the Veer Chakra citations, first of all, the government's very careful not to give out too many operational details, because remember, first of all, this was just an 87-hour operation, and it could be that anything could resume at any point of time. In any case, Government of India's official position is that Op Sindoor is not yet over. It's in a pause, but it's not yet over. Also, both sides have delivered some punches, both sides have taken some punches. Obviously, we think that Pakistanis have taken a lot more punches, or India has delivered a lot more punches. Nevertheless, both sides have learned their lessons. In any battle, any war, any skirmish, any confrontation, both sides learn. And you find usually that the losing side learns a little bit more than the winning side, because the winning side is also celebrating. That is something that grown-up people know, and that is what they keep at the back of their minds as they plan ahead. And that's why you will not find citations like these give out too much detail, because there might be tactics that you will use again. There might be tactics that worked out this time and that you might then make your adversary familiar with. Because even if your adversary can guess it, because the adversary is not stupid, right? But even if he can guess it, why make that job easier? As Air Chief Marshal AP Singh said the other day, if he wants to believe, the Pakistanis want to believe that they shot down 15 of my aircraft, let them believe that. Why should I help them by giving them any number saying yes or no? Next time, when the next round comes, let him prepare for 15 jets less on my part. And he said, उसको भी कुरेद के निकालने दो ना. Let them also dig and find out, जैसे हम भी कुरेद के निकाल रहे हैं. These are exactly Chief Marshal AP Singh's words. I'm using this to explain to you why these citations don't give a lot of granular detail, although these are long citations. So see, first of all, the army citations. When you read them and you read them carefully and you have some bit of military knowledge, and also in my case, I can call on Snehesh Alex Philip, our defense editor, to check, then you can paint a clearer picture of what happened. Now, first of all, I know, I said it also just now, that the Air Force was literally the tip of the spear in this case, or the sword arm of Indian military power, or the Indian Op Sindoor, or the Indian response post Pahalgam. At the same time, remember that of the 9 targets hit, the 9 terror targets hit, 2 were assigned to the Air Force, that is Muridke and Bahawalpur. Only 2 were assigned to the Air Force, 7 were assigned to the Army. Those 7 were also taken out on the same night quite effectively and with full evidence, because you saw pictures and videos of drones floating over these targets and giving you the pictures, in some cases videos of the destruction. You also saw videos of loitering munitions falling over precisely over these targets. These are the 7 targets, either in POK or in the region of Pakistani Punjab, close to the POK. So these were taken out by the army. How did the army do that? Was it only done through drones or through loitering munitions? No. A lot of it was done by the use of precision artillery. And that's the reason we need to understand how important and powerful and effective artillery has become now. Because as the war in Ukraine has showed us, long-range artillery with guided munitions. Long-range artillery now can use smart munitions. So you can literally put the GPS coordinates of a house, or of a building, or of a room, or of a bunker on a shell, and fire from these guns, and chances are that you will hit them. Your chances will be almost as good as hitting them with an air-launched precision-guided missile. In this case, however, your cost will be much less, and also in this case, however, your cost will be much less, and your power to repeat the punishment or use the same gun to deliver similarly smart ammunition elsewhere will be much greater. So see the first 2 Vir Chakras. The first Vir Chakra is Colonel Kushank Lamba, 302 Medium Regiment. Now, while it was very well understood that many of these strikes were carried out using long-range artillery, but what artillery or what weapon? So there was a lot of guesswork. And the guesswork was that these will probably be by the use of Excalibur guided ammunition, which is fired by the M777 howitzers, a limited number of which India had bought from the US a few years back. Now, those are almost entirely deployed on the eastern frontier. Those are well-known public facts. There is no secret about them. What has happened in this case? In this case, obviously, some resources have been shifted from that command to this one. Read the citation for Colonel Kushank Lamba, Officer Commanding or Commandant 302 Medium Regiment. Colonel Kushank Lamba displayed flawless leadership and at a short notice executed first ever air mobilization of a specialized equipment battery, thereby ensuring timely inter-command induction for operation with utter secrecy. Now, if this was artillery guns, then Indian Army has only one gun of this kind of capacity, which is air mobile or which can be airlifted. That is the M777. The officer, because of his vast experience, was moved at short notice and was instrumental in carrying out acquisition and analysis of one of the most difficult targets. His technical prowess on equipment, tactical knowledge, and time-bound, relentless, mission-oriented training transformed his subunit to mission capable within 5 days. So from wherever they were based, his unit, he brought in a subunit to the line of control sector and got them ready within 5 days. So you can understand what we are talking about. Once the unit was tasked to orchestrate coordinated precision engagement of most vital terrorist infrastructure in the Northern Command, that is that is those 7 targets or some of those 7 targets. The officer demonstrated extreme courage and directed synchronized fire mission with absolute surprise despite being under enemy observation and fire. The full citation is on your screen. You can read that. Then you come to another artillery officer, Lieutenant Colonel Sushil Bishisht, 1988 Independent Medium Battery. Importantly, this is a different regiment. And it says during an operation, Lieutenant Colonel Sushil Bisht, as officer commanding, displayed exceptional courage and leadership and operational brilliance. And then it goes on to say, upon receiving orders to strike terrorist camps, so once again it's confirmed to us that terrorist camps were struck with long-range precision artillery. He swiftly deployed his unit under the cover of darkness, showing unparalleled courage and utter disregard for personal safety. He led the assault by targeting precisely, causing multiple target destruction, despite enemy counter-bombardment, etc., etc. You can see once again the entire citation on your screens. Then there is a couple more. Naib Subedar Satish Kumar, 4th Battalion, the Dogra Regiment, and Rifleman Sunil Kumar, 4th Battalion, the Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry. Both of these were involved in combat along the line of control or international border. Rifleman Sunil Kumar, for example, was involved in action in the same area where the 2 BSF soldiers also sacrificed their lives. Exactly in the same area, Kharkola border outpost area along the international border in the Jammu sector. And Naib Subedar Satish Kumar was a mortar position controller in the LOC area. We know that both sides exchanged a lot of fire across the LOC, artillery as well as mortar and small arms and automatic fire as well. And just like those 2 BSF Vir Chakra awardees, Rifleman Sunil Kumar, who was also in the same area, in the same sector, probably on the same post, also has got his Vir Chakra posthumously. Then we come to the Air Force. Group Captain Ranjit Singh Sidhu, he's obviously the commandant of a Rafale squadron, the 17th. I say so because all the pictures are available. And the citation once again gets around the description. It says during an operation, his squadron equipped with the formidable fighter aircraft was chosen for strike missions over a predetermined target. His squadron subsequently conducted successful strikes over the targets and achieved the desired results. Now, this citation is somewhat more detailed than the army citations. And this tells you a little bit more about the degree of difficulty that these airstrikes had, given the fact that Pakistan had the fullest warning. They were anticipating these strikes and they knew it was a matter of time, and they knew that these will come from the Indian Air Force. They also had some guesswork as to what the targets could have been this time. The citation, while complimenting Group Captain Ranjit Singh Sidhu for his complete disregard for personal safety, etc., and acts of gallantry, it goes on to say that he ensured the planning and execution of air operations of his squadron from 3 different locations along the western sector, which means the squadron deployed to 3 different places for dispersal and also for surprise. The same squadron operated from 3 sectors. That's what we learn from this citation. He led from the front by flying multiple deep penetration strike missions to destroy the designated targets with surgical precision, and flew air defense missions in aid of own forces flying similar strike missions. Now, we have to understand what is the meaning of deep penetration strike missions. Given our old-fashioned thinking, we think, oh, deep penetration means going 100 miles inside Pakistani territory or airspace. It doesn't work like that. These days, going into any space, any airspace, say within 150 kilometers of your own territory, of your own airspace, is hostile territory, because combat now is entirely beyond visual range. That is the essential lesson of these citations as well, because almost all of the action, besides what's happened with infantry on the ground, on the LOC and the international border, all the other action, artillery as well as air action, is all beyond visual range. That's why when you say penetrating deep, it means getting to within 100 kilometers of your border, or maybe 130, 150 kilometers of your border, because all of that is airspace which will be targeted by the adversary. And the Pakistanis, between their HQ-9 missiles and PL-15s, which their Chinese origin aircraft use, they have the range almost to reach 200 kilometers towards the Indian side. That's why if you get into that airspace, you are in danger zone already. And there then to hold your nerve and to fire your weapons, and in some cases also to wait long enough to guide your weapons to hit the target, that is an act of courage. And that is what we understand about the nature of this conflict from these citations. Then again, this is a very good summary, this citation. It says, in each of these missions, he faced complex threat scenarios and layered air defenses. What is a layered air defense? That means surface-to-air missiles of various ranges and effective to various altitudes, helped along by radars of various ranges and various precision, and also airborne threats, which means interceptor aircraft with long-range missiles backed by airborne early warning systems. So all of that made this environment so hostile. Despite overwhelming odds, the citation says, he demonstrated unmatched courage and outstanding tactical acumen and made dynamic real-time decisions in air, adapting swiftly to emerging threats and operational variables. His bold leadership and composure under fire were instrumental in achieving the intended strike outcomes while ensuring survivability of his own forces that were undertaking missions under the air defense cover of his squadron. So once again, you can see that his squadron had a dual role. One was to carry out the strikes by itself, which he also did. And second then was to provide air defense cover to others who were carrying out the strikes. I would presume that would apply to the Sukhoi 30s who were used on the early morning or late night of May 9 and 10 to carry out those deep strikes on Pakistani air bases and radar nodes. The next citation is also for a fighter pilot, that is Group Captain Manish Arora, and we can't guess what kind of aircraft is he flying because I'd rather not hazard a guess. There's no indication, but we have an indication as to what he was doing, as to the nature of the mission. That was different from the mission of Group Captain Ranjit Singh Sidhu. This citation says, during an operation, he flew as mission leader of an unescorted strike package to neutralize predetermined targets that were heavily fortified by advanced weapon systems of opposing forces. So once again, it will be HQ-9 missiles, maybe HQ-16s, which are shorter range, and then Pakistani fighters with either PL-15s or F-16s with AMRAAMs. We can go on reading. The airspace had seamless radar cover and was defended round the clock by aircraft equipped with long-range, state-of-the-art, beyond visual range missiles. That's where I just filled in the blanks for you. Opportunity to penetrate this hostile threat envelope was limited, and launch window to deliver the weapon was significantly short. That's what I said. You have to go into this area of danger. You have to literally fly into danger where all kinds of missiles are coming at you, and there hold your nerve to release your weapon and to make sure that your weapon reaches the target. This citation is written in somewhat greater detail. It says his profile entailed tactical formation routing at low level by dark night, followed by aggressive maneuvering so as to achieve launch parameters to deliver the weapon accurately and simultaneously evade hostile forces. During weapon delivery, it says he was flying under adversaries' lethal ranges and had multiple aerial and ground launches on him. Right? This is the first mention that these aircraft actually had multiple missiles launched at them from the ground and from the air as well. He not only ensured successful target destruction, but alerted his formation, ensuring safety of his wingmen. Once again, this paints for us a slightly better picture of what might have happened that night than we have known so far. That these aircraft, these pilots had gone out in the danger zone and they had been attacked multiple times. They faced attacks from multiple missiles, both launched from the ground and from the air. Third Vir Chakra for the Air Force, Group Captain Animesh Patni. He is a pilot, but in this case, his role is not that of a pilot. He is commanding, he's a squadron commander of a long-range strategic surface-to-air missile, SAM squadron, in a forward airbase we don't have any we don't have to reveal any secrets to say that this is an S-400 squadron, for the simple reason that both the air chief and the prime minister met him when they went to Adampur Air Base. That is where the Pakistanis claim that their JF-17s firing CM-400 AKG radiation-seeking missiles had been able to hit an S-400 battery. I can tell you with quite a bit of certainty that did not happen. Although it took quite a bit of maneuvering, I can tell you from this citation also, to keep those S-400 safe, because you know what happens when you switch on a radar, the other guy can pick up your radiation. When the other guy picks up a radiation, they can fire a missile riding that radiation. As that happens, you also know that there is a missile coming for you. Then either you try to take down that missile or you move away from you. Those decisions have to be made in split seconds, and that requires nerves of steel, a great amount of skill, and also great bravery. And that is what Group Captain Animesh Patni was dealing with. The citation goes on to say that his unit engaged multiple aerial targets, which S-400 can do. It can track more than 100 targets at the same time. The unit dynamically relocated to deceive the adversaries. I told you that you have to be very mobile because this is a game where one is chasing the other. The unit dynamically relocated to deceive the adversaries and continue to maintain offensive posture. That means you move out of the harm's way, so the missile that's coming hits something, but that something is mostly empty ground because you've moved away, because these missiles are very mobile. They are mounted on mobile launchers, and the rest is your skill and training in terms of when you will fire and when you will move. You can't remain stationary in the same place. The next Air Force VRC for Group Captain Kunal Kalda, also a pilot, makes the picture still clearer. It says that 1, he got his squadron ready in quick time for this operation. He was tasked to destroy 2 targets while navigating through adverse weather en route. His profile entailed tactical formation routing at low level by dark night, followed by aggressive maneuvering to achieve launch parameters, because you have to fly low to evade the radar, but you need a minimum altitude to launch your weapons. So once again, this entailed tactical formation routing at low level by dark night, followed by aggressive maneuvering to achieve launch parameters so as to deliver weapons accurately. And then it says, despite encountering aircraft unserviceability in air. So he had a snag in his aircraft while flying, an overwhelming presence of adversary in large numbers. That there is no doubt about, because the Pakistanis were ready, and Pakistan Air Force is very sharp and very combat hungry. He fired his first weapon on the target, keeping mission objectives over his personal safety. First objective was achieved, and he proceeded towards his second target. While readying his weapon for firing, system displayed indication of malfunction. Officer undauntingly kept flying under lethal range of opposing forces, evaded multiple aerial and ground launches, which means this one also is ducking a lot of missiles launched at it. These are all guided missiles, either radar guided or infrared. He executed remedial actions to reset his weapon system and brought his weapon back online. He not only ensured successful second target destruction, but also safety of his wingmen. Once again, you've been seeing the full citation on your screens as I've been talking. I've only read out a couple of lines. Next, Vir Chakra Wing Commander Joy Chandra, also a pilot, has a somewhat similar story. Also went into very hostile territory and braved a lot of missiles fired at his aircraft. As the mission progressed, the citation says, the strike package was challenged by rapid air responses, both by way of air defense aircraft and SAGWs, which is surface-to-air guided weapons. Despite a networked hostile threat environment to air and ground, the officer displayed exceptional courage. And once again, if you read this carefully, at least one thing will become very clear to you, that real combat is a situation where two sides fight. It's never one-sided. It's never like what your TV channels have been telling you, that one side goes and demolishes the other side fully without any opposition. This is a very tough contest on both sides, and this is no game of sport. This is a game in which lives can be lost, reputation and prestige can be lost, people can be taken prisoner. That's why we always need to understand that fighting wars is not for amateurs, and real wars are not like the movies. Definitely not like the Sunny Deol movies. Which brings us to squadron leader Sarthak Kumar, also a pilot. He's flown two very dangerous missions, again in the same kind of hostile environment. He also was key to mission planning for his colleagues as well, which is a job of great skill and risk taking, because in that case, if you go wrong, you're also sending your colleagues into danger. So that's a job of great responsibility. Once again, in his case also, you see that he has braved a lot of beyond visual range missiles, both fired from the ground and fired from the air as well. Squadron leader Siddhant Singh, also pilot. It says during an operation, 3 aircraft formation was tasked for standoff precision strike on a pre-designated target. This required precision engagement of a particular structure with the weapon system that had limited standoff capability and required precise control of weapon till impact, which means the pilot had to be around somewhere there to guide the weapon to the target, which means exposing yourself to danger that much longer. You don't just shoot and scoot. You don't just shoot and scoot, or at least that's what my understanding is. And once again, this was also in a very hostile environment with surface-to-air guided weapons, air defense aircraft armed with long beyond visual range missiles. There were no easy hits in that short conflict because the Pakistanis were ready, the Indian Air Force was ready. No Air Force or no army was flying or fighting or firing in a secure environment. This was a very dangerous place to be in. Quite similar operations were carried out by squadron leader Rizwan Malik, again a pilot, the next Vir Chakra winner. He was the deputy mission leader of an unescorted strike. An unescorted strike is where strike aircraft go not escorted by fighter aircraft, which means if the enemy air comes in to challenge you, you have to either look after yourself, fight back, or try and avoid them or try to escape them. He was deputy mission leader of one such unescorted strike package to neutralize pre-designated targets, which he did quite successfully, again in an environment filled with hostile forces and hostile missiles. I will read from the citation. It says, during weapon delivery, he was under adversaries' lethal ranges and had multiple aerial and ground launches at him. Even in such grave situation, he ensured successful target destruction. And finally, we come to the 2 more posthumous Vir Chakras. I had told you earlier about Rifleman Sunil Kumar of 4th J&K Light Infantry Jack LI, who had died fighting at border outpost Khorkola. At the same post, 2 BSF personnel also died fighting. And these are Sub-Inspector Mohammad Imtiaz and also Constable Deepak Chengakham. This is when the Pakistani side launched a bunch of loitering munitions and drones at the post, and under the cover of that attack tried to overwhelm the post. Now this citation says BOP Kharkola came under intense firing involving heavy cross-border mortar shelling and flat trajectory fire throughout the intervening night of the day, that is 6th and 7th night. Imtiaz and troops gave befitting reply. Upon sensing danger from aerial threat, Sub-Inspector Imtiaz tactically moved out of command bunker and spotted the threats. He took the LMG light machine gun and fired, neutralizing one of the threats. That means one of the drones. Constable Deepak also fired from LMG on the second threat. Meanwhile, a mortar shell fired from across the border exploded near the morcha, causing grievous injuries to Sub-Inspector Imtiaz and Constable Deepak. And you can see further description of that moment on your screens. That's how these two made the supreme sacrifice. Alongside them also Sepoy Sunil Kumar. So that gives you the list of the Vir Chakras, the 15 Vir Chakras, and also an understanding of how the fighting over those 87 hours might have turned out. More interestingly, more importantly, this gives us some clarity on how those 7 targets assigned to the army were taken out, and also the kind of battles that the Indian Air Force was involved in, not just on the night of 6th and 7th of May, but also going ahead, particularly on the intervening night of 9th and 10th May and through the day on the 10th. And in case you are interested and you missed it, let me remind you, and I will share a link with you, that on 14th of August, or in fact 15th morning, very early morning, we had published a 52-minute, hold your breath, a 52-minute episode of Cut the Clutter, doing our best reconstruction, our best judgment reconstruction of 87 hours of fighting in Op Sindoor.